Welcome to the Hindu Daily. Okay, let's dive straight into today's deep dive. We're starting with two editorials that really set a broad stage. They offer quite different, but I think equally vital perspectives on power and progress, both globally and right here at home. So the first piece uses this really powerful ancient metaphor, the Samudra Manthan, the churning of the ocean. The idea is that, well, periods of turbulence ultimately bring renewal and growth.
And it seems that analogy fits quite well with the recent data, doesn't it?
It really does. The latest GDP numbers are quite striking. We're talking real GDP growth of 7.8% in the first quarter of fiscal year 2025-26. That's actually a five-quarter high.
Wow, 7.8%. And is that across the board?
Pretty much. The article stresses it's broad-based manufacturing up 7.7%, construction 7.6%, services a strong 9.3%. It signals, solid investment and consumption picking up.
Right. And where does that place India globally now?
Well, it's now the world's fourth largest economy and, crucially, the fastest growing major one. Projections show it overtaking Germany to become third largest even before 2030.
That's quite a climb. And its contribution to global growth must be significant then.
Hugely, over 15% of incremental world growth, according to the article. And the financial world is definitely taking notice. S&P Global just gave India its first sovereign rating upgrade in 18 years.
An upgrade after 18 years? That's big. What does that practically mean?
Well, it cites robust growth, monetary credibility, fiscal consolidation, the impact, lower borrowing costs, potentially a wider investor base. It's a real vote of confidence.
What really jumps out for me, beyond the numbers, is how the author frames this, not just growth stats, but as these churns leading to renewal. The piece highlights a distinct approach, prioritizing consensus, competitive federalism, and what it called last-mile delivery.
Exactly. It describes it as a marathoner's economy rather than these authoritarian sprints.
Exactly.
Building something robust, not just rapid.
And that connects to the poverty reduction figures too, right?
Absolutely. The article mentions that between 2013-14 and 2022-23, almost 250 million Indians moved out of multidimensional poverty.
250 million people. That's staggering.
It is. And it attributes this to large-scale delivery of basic services, bank accounts, clean cooking fuel, health cover, tap water, plus direct transfers. Real empowerment at the grassroots level.
It paints a picture of growth that's trying to be inclusive.
Yes. And then there's the energy piece. India's role is pivotal, third largest consumer, fourth largest refiner, and LNG importer. And demand is projected to double by 2047.
Doubling by 2047. That requires a massive strategy.
Right. So the government's approach is dual security and reform, expanding exploration, new gas pricing reforms, but also a really fast transition to green energy. Ethanol blending, for instance, surged from just 1.5% in 2014 to 20% today.
20%. That saves foreign exchange and helps farmers too, I imagine.
Precisely. And they're rolling out hundreds of compressed biogas plants, targeting 5% blending by 2028. It's quite ambitious.
That blend of security and transition is fascinating.
Yeah.
And how does this intersect with, say, the Russian crude purchases? That's been controversial.
The article addresses that directly. It clarifies India's stance. It isn't breaking rules. It complies with the G7 EU price cap, which was designed precisely to keep oil flowing while limiting revenue.
So the laundromat accusation is unfair, according to this piece.
Yes, it pushes back strongly. Reminds us, India's been a major exporter of refined products for decades, processing crudes from everywhere. The argument is that India's approach actually helped stabilize global markets and protected its own consumers from price spikes. A pragmatic player, essentially.
A stabilizing force in that view.
Okay. And this all feeds into the larger Made in India vision. We're seeing growth in semiconductors, electronics, renewables, defense, spurred by production-linked incentives and logistics improvements like Gati Shakti.
Plus the digital economy, right? UPI is everywhere.
Everywhere. That, plus the startup ecosystem. It creates this compounding effect when digital meets physical infrastructure. Some projections, like EY's, even see India becoming the world's second largest economy in PPP terms by 2038.
A truly dynamic picture.
Okay, now let's shift gears completely. The second editorial takes us to the Ukraine war, but through a very particular lens. It argues the conflict is less about nations fighting and more about a battle within the United States itself.
America versus Washington. That's a provocative title. What's the core argument?
The thesis is that U.S. policy on Ukraine, including events like the Alaska Summit in August 2025, is really driven by an internal struggle between the America First anti-interventionist camp and what the article called permanent Washington.
Interesting. So it connects to Trump's campaign promises.
Exactly. Trump pledged to end the war on my first day. But the article notes that despite this, and despite strong public support for negotiation, he couldn't deliver a permanent peace.
Which highlights this tension, this internal resistance you're talking about.
Right. The America First stance, as described here, wants the U.S. to curtail global military involvement, focus domestically, and be sort of sanguine about other powers like India, China, Russia having regional influence.
A very different vision of America's role.
Very different. And against that, you have permanent Washington. The article defines this as a coalition of commercial and ideological interests, neocon politicians, ideological civil servants who generally favor continuous military action, spending, and maintaining U.S. global hegemony.
So it's suggesting that even a president with a clear popular mandate on foreign policy can face significant pushback from these established interests.
That's the implication. The article points to Trump's actions. He got the optics he wanted, like meeting Putin, dressing down Zelensky. But concrete policy towards peace was minimal. Support for Kyiv continued. Even secondary sanctions, like those on India for Russian oil purchases, were imposed.
Which seems contradictory to the America First idea.
It does. And the Alaska summit, in this interpretation, becomes a compromise. Trump gets his peacemaker photo op, but the war machine keeps grinding, serving the interests of permanent Washington.
That really makes you question where the true levers of power lie in foreign policy decisions, doesn't it? It suggests outcomes are shaped by forces far deeper than election promises.
It certainly does. So what does this all mean for you, the listener? These two pieces show vastly different kinds of power. One is about a nation charting its own economic course, the other about complex, maybe hidden forces shaping a superpower's global actions. Definitely food for thought on how decisions get made. Okay, moving from that global geopolitical stage, let's turn to a really critical domestic issue here in India. Our next piece from the opinion section focuses on empowering India's youth.
Ah, yes, the demographic dividend. It's a huge opportunity, but also a challenge.
Exactly. The article, written by the Union Minister of Labor and Employment, highlights that about 65% of India's population is under 35, a massive potential advantage globally. But as you said, the challenge is turning that possibility into prosperity.
And the article connects this to recent economic progress and job creation figures.
It does. It notes India's rise from 10th to 4th largest economy and highlights job creation numbers. Over 17 crore, or 170 million, jobs created between 2014 and 2024, significantly more than the 2.9 crore in the decade before.
That's a huge jump. And formalization is increasing too, according to EPFO data mentioned.
Yes, accelerated formalization. And perhaps even more striking is the expansion of Social Security, from just 19% coverage in 2015 to an estimated 64.3% in 2025. That's nearly 94 crore, or 940 million beneficiaries.
Wow, 940 million people. The ILO acknowledged this.
Yes, as one of the fastest expansions globally, India now has the world's second largest social security system, according to the piece.
Incredible scale. And this leads into the new scheme, the Rozgar Yojana.
Exactly, the Pradhan Mantri Viksit Bharat Rozgar Yojana. It's ambitious an outlay of 1 lakh crore, aiming to create over 3.5 crore or 35 million jobs in 2 years.
35 million jobs. What's the mechanism? How does it work?
What's interesting is its dual focus. It targets both boosting youth employability and enhancing enterprise competitiveness at the same time.
So incentives for both sides.
Precisely. Direct financial incentives for first-time employees up to $15,000, and also for employers up to $3,000 per new hire per month. It lowers barriers for workers and reduces hiring risks for businesses.
That's quite a smart design. And it integrates Social Security.
Critically, yes. Benefits are channeled via direct benefit transfer, immediately linking new workers into Social Security systems. So it promotes formalization right from the start.
So it's not just about job numbers. It's about the quality of jobs, formal, secure jobs, plus the link to manufacturing and self-reliance.
Exactly. There's an added focus there. The piece frames it as more than just policy. It's a concrete step towards Viksit Bharat, ensuring meaningful work and opportunity for young people.
What's fascinating here is that integrated approach, tackling employability, formalization, Social Security all at once. It's trying to turn that demographic potential into a sustainable national dividend, a model perhaps for other developing nations.
So, for you, watching global development, this is a massive effort to harness India's human potential, aiming for genuinely inclusive growth and a more secure future for millions. A real aha moment, perhaps, in thinking about large-scale workforce development. Now, let's dive into something, well, completely different and truly unique from the science section. It's about a new and rather surprising way scientists are uncovering the history of sea level rise.
Oh, using natural archives. Those are always fascinating.
Exactly. We all know global warming is causing seas to rise, impacting coasts and coral reefs. The Indian Ocean, in fact, is rising faster than the global average, about 3.3 millimeters per year.
But getting long-term historical data has always been tricky, right? Especially in remote areas.
Precisely. There are significant gaps. This new study uses something called coral microatolls. Have you heard of these?
Vaguely. They're the ones shaped like discs, aren't they? Limited by low tide.
That's the one. Their upward growth stops at the lowest tide level, so their flat top surface becomes an incredibly accurate record of past lowest water levels. And they can live for decades, even centuries.
Like natural tide gauges, but going back much further. Ingenious.
Isn't it? A team led by Paul Kench used a Porites microatoll in the Maldives. They managed to extend the sea level record there by 90 years, back to 1930.
How did they date it so precisely?
Painstaking work. They surveyed the coral's edge, cut a slab, x-rayed it to see the annual growth bands like tree rings, then uranium, thorium dating for the historical elevation at specific points in time.
And what did this 90-year record reveal?
This is where it gets startling. Sea levels rose about 0.3 meters over the 90 years. Okay, that's significant. But the rate of rise accelerated dramatically.
How much acceleration?
It went from about 1 to 1.8 millimeters per year between 1930 and 1959, then jumped to 2.7 to 4.1 millimeters per year up to 1992, and then even faster, nearly 4 to 5 millimeters per year from 1990 to 2019.
Wow, nearly quadrupling. But the really crucial finding.
The crucial part is when this acceleration began. The microatoll data suggests it started in the late 1950s.
The late 1950s. That's decades earlier than previously thought based on tide gauges, right?
Yeah.
Most estimates put the start of significant acceleration around 1990.
Exactly, decades earlier. This challenges that common assumption. It means places like the Maldives, Lakshadweep, the Chagos Archipelago have likely experienced this faster rise for much longer than we realized, maybe 30, 40 centimeters over the last half-century plus.
That completely changes the baseline for understanding vulnerability and impact.
It does, and these microatolls are amazing archives. They even preserved signals from major El Niño events and the 18.6-year lunar nodal cycle.
So they capture multiple environmental signals. It really highlights how nature itself can be this incredibly precise historical record keeper. It makes you ask, doesn't it, how much we might be underestimating climate change impacts if we only rely on modern observations?
A really important question. These microatolls offer a vital complementary approach, especially in data-sparse regions, filling critical historical gaps.
And recalibrating our understanding of long-term changes. That's essential for better projections and adaptation strategies.
So, for you, the listener, it's a powerful reminder of finding knowledge in unexpected places, leveraging nature's archives to grasp planetary changes better and make smarter choices, especially for vulnerable islands. A new lens on an urgent problem. Okay, moving into our text and context section now. We're unpacking a quite nuanced legal and political discussion concerning India's federal structure, specifically related to Jammu and Kashmir.
Ah, yes, the statehood issue. The Supreme Court has been involved
Yes,
recently.
it has. The court sought a detailed response from the center about restoring statehood to J&K. While it acknowledged the separation of powers, it clearly highlighted the critical nature of this issue.
What are the main arguments presented for restoration?
The core argument is that failure to restore statehood affects citizens' rights and, crucially, violates essential features of federalism, which is considered part of the basic structure of the Indian Constitution.
Federalism as basic structure, that's key. The article explains how states are normally formed or reorganized.
Yes, it outlines the processes admission, like J&K's accession, establishment for acquired territories like Goa, or formation reorganization under Article 3, where Parliament can alter boundaries or create new states from existing ones.
But here's the critical point on federalism the article makes, right?
Exactly. It argues that the Union cannot diminish a state's area by converting it into a Union territory, because that fundamentally goes against India's federal features. Therefore, restoring J&K's statehood is seen as mandatory, even if the timing depends on the situation on the ground.
A strong constitutional argument based on federal principles.
It stems from how India is defined in Article 1, a union of states. This implies indivisibility, no right for states to secede. Using union instead of federation aimed for a strong center, yes, but crucially, it maintained a federal character for equity and welfare, and that federal character is basic structure.
And the Rajya Sabha's role fits into this.
Yes, The Rajya Sabha, the upper house, being a permanent body, ensures states' representation at the union level, sustaining this unique unitary federation.
So where do things stand now? Remind us of the Supreme Court's directive.
Back in December 2023, the Supreme Court upheld the abrogation of Articles 370 and 35A, but it explicitly directed the Union government to restore statehood to J&K and hold legislative assembly elections.
Elections were held in October 2024, but statehood.
Statehood hasn't been restored yet, and the government hasn't indicated a timeline. The article addresses critics who might worry restoration empowers the local government too much.
And the counter-argument.
The counter is that not restoring statehood is inconsistent with India's constitutional design and erodes those essential federal features. It really underscores the living nature of the Constitution, constantly defining that balance of power.
It does raise important questions about the long-term implications of altering a region's federal status, even temporarily, and the need to adhere to the nation's foundational design.
So for you, observing how a complex democracy like India navigates its constitutional framework, this is a live example. It's about constitutional principles being debated, applied, ensuring the fundamental structure holds, and citizens' rights are protected. Now, from constitutional law, let's plunge into the mysterious depths of the ocean. Our next piece is fascinating. It looks at the behavior of orcas, killer whales, and some truly unexpected interactions with humans.
Orcas offering gifts. That sounds incredible.
It really is. Apparently, orcas are actively sharing freshly killed prey with humans, and often they wait around for a human response.
Sharing prey. What kind of prey and how was this studied?
Researchers collected data over 20 years, 2004 to 2024, across 5 ocean regions. They focused on times when orcas came right up to humans within their body length and released prey.
And they waited.
In 33 out of 34 observed instances, yes. They waited for a human reaction before taking the prey back or just leaving it, and the offerings were diverse: seaweed, fish, reptiles, birds, even mammals.
That's extraordinary behavior for a top predator. They are incredibly intelligent, of course.
Absolutely. Top of the food chain, large brain-to-body size ratio linked to cognition, learning, social behavior. Matriarch-led groups, too, influencing behavior.
So why are they doing this? Is it just play?
The study questions that simple play hypothesis. For one, it was seen in adults, too, not just juveniles. And animals usually play when well-fed, but many offerings were whole prey.
So if not play, then what?
The authors suggest exploration is more likely. A conscious pursuit of knowledge, trying to reduce uncertainty about their surroundings, a sign of evolved intelligence.
Exploring humans through offerings, that's a complex thought.
It is. One marine biologist even describes some interactions as scientific thinking, like they're asking questions and seeing how we respond. In some cases, humans tossed prey back, and the orcas immediately offered something else, suggesting learning or testing preferences.
Fascinating. But the researchers also added a note of caution.
Yes, they warned that while it looks pro-social, it could potentially be manipulative. Orcas are smart. They steal fish, damage boats. So maybe there's an ulterior motive sometimes.
It really pushes us to think about the cognitive sophistication of these animals, doesn't it? Deciphering their motives is challenging, forcing us to move beyond simple explanations.
Definitely. So what does this mean for you, the listener? It challenges us to consider the incredible intelligence and adaptability of creatures like orcas, maybe look beyond easy answers for animal behavior, a truly thought-provoking glimpse into their world. And finally, we tackle a very real, very current, and rapidly growing threat in our digital lives, the APK scam. This is something crucial for every single one of us to understand.
APK fraud. Yes, it's become a huge problem, exploiting trust in digital systems.
Huge. It's described as one of the fastest-growing cybercrime threats, and it uses sophisticated tools to stay hidden. How does it typically start?
It often begins quite innocuously. A calm but urgent phone call or maybe a message. Your bank account is blocked, you missed a government subsidy, your electricity bill is pending.
Creating immediate panic or urgency.
Exactly. And then they send you a link to download an app to fix the problem. This fake app looks official, proper logos, installs easily. It asks for permissions that might seem routine contacts, SMS, notifications.
And then what happens? How quickly does the damage occur?
Devastatingly quickly. The article says in under 10 minutes, money can disappear from accounts, fixed deposits might be prematurely closed, OTPs intercepted. The app works silently in the background.
Doing what?
Monitoring, mirroring, mining all your phone data, locations, private messages, everything. Then the funds are digitally laundered, making them almost impossible to get back.
The scale sounds terrifying. Are there numbers on this?
Alarming ones. The National Cybercrime Reporting Portal saw over 1.2 million cases just in the last 6 months. Parliament reported a 900% jump in cybercrimes between 2021 and 2025.
A 900% jump.
Yes. And in one state, Telangana, their cybersecurity bureau reported nearly 2,200 cases between January and July 2025 alone, with losses over 779 crore. Daily losses can be 10-15 lakh, with big scams hitting 30-40 lakh.
Unbelievable amounts. Like, can you break down the technical side a bit? How do they actually do it?
Okay, so APK files are essentially the installation files for Android apps, like .exe files on Windows. They can be easily loaded with malware.
And they make them look legitimate.
Yes. Fraudsters build apps that mimic official portals, PM Kisan, tax refund sites, electricity boards, banks needing KYC updates. They distribute these via social media, often WhatsApp, with those convincing, urgent messages.
How do they bypass security software?
They use encryption to hide the malicious code. Often the app stays dormant during the actual installation process to avoid detection by antivirus scans. It only activates later. Clever and devious. And once it's on the phone, it requests sweeping permissions, contacts, messages, call logs, location, microphone notifications. Then it accesses program files, harvests data in real time, encrypts it, and sends it off to external servers where the criminals decode it. Banking details, OTPs, personal info.
It sounds like organized crime, not just random hackers.
Absolutely. It's described as an underground economy. The people circulating the links are rarely the ones who built the malicious app.
Where are these apps being built?
The article estimates 60-70% are developed locally in India. Delhi, NCR, Meerut, Jammu are mentioned. But 30-40% come from overseas, US, UK, China. And they're readily available.
Apparently. Telegram channels and dark web marketplaces offer pre-built kits. And interestingly, investigators find the same core APK files reused in hundreds of cases, just with minor interface changes to evade blacklisting. So how do they choose their victims? Is it random?
Often not. They conduct digital reté. They buy leaked databases from malls, hospitals, service portals, just dial maybe containing names, numbers, emails, addresses, sometimes even income or profession details.
So they can tailor the scam.
Exactly. High-earning professionals, doctors, bank staff, teachers, real estate agents are often targeted with customized messages designed to hit their specific potential concerns, making the scam much more convincing.
And it must be incredibly difficult for investigators to track them down.
Extremely challenging. Decrypting the APKs is hard. Only a small fraction are successful. Even then, they might only reveal server addresses, rarely the developers. The money trail vanishes quickly into mule accounts and then cryptocurrency.
So the masterminds remain elusive.
Often, yes. Local accomplices might get arrested, but the coders and orchestrators, especially those operating offshore, are very hard to reach. And while platforms like Google remove reported apps, they can't vet everything. And criminals just use fake identities to host new ones. If we connect this to the bigger picture, this isn't just about individual scams, is it? It's a systemic issue exploiting our digital dependence and trust. It really raises questions about the collective responsibility users, tech companies, law enforcement in securing this landscape.
Absolutely. So what does this all mean for you, the listener? It is a stark, stark reminder to be incredibly vigilant. Double-check every link, scrutinize every app, question every permission you grant on your phone. Your digital security truly is in your hands, and understanding these sophisticated tactics is your first crucial line of defense. As we wrap up this deep dive, consider this provocative thought for your own exploration. In a world where national economies are both globally interdependent and fiercely independent, where democratic mandates can clash with entrenched power, and where our increasingly digital lives offer both unprecedented opportunity and peril, how do we, as informed citizens, navigate the delicate balance between trust and vigilance across all these complex domains? Thank you for listening. If you want to provide suggestions, please contact on the Twitter handle given in the episode description. As always, we are eager to hear what our listeners want to be informed about. We wish you a great day.